people to be able to go in person and not just online to these services?
Well, thank you. It's great to be with you, especially on Memorial Day weekend. We were so thankful that the president had the back of people of faith he has on every issue, and he certainly didn't disappoint us this time. It's so critical. The reason that men and women have died and shed their blood was for freedom, and one of those freedoms is the freedom to gather and the freedom to worship. And it's one of the most precious freedoms we have in this nation. And nothing is free. And this freedom was purchased by the blood of our soldiers and our men and women. And so when the president stood up yesterday and he did what he did, it was a shot in the arm. And he said something so powerful that churches are essential. And, you know, if a bar is essential and if a weed shop is essential, as some governors have declared, the church certainly is essential, because we don't just inspire and inform, but we transform through the gospel of Jesus Christ people's lives.
Pastor Rodriguez, if you could just speak to the importance of the power of prayer at this time. So many people are struggling. They're scared. They've lost loved ones potentially. They're struggling with their businesses. Mental health issues are of deep concern. So why is prayer so important and pivotal at this time?
Yeah, I likewise want to thank the president for his exemplary leadership on this matter. Prayer changes everything, absolutely everything. To me, it is ironic, by the way, this idea of not recognizing churches. I live in the blessed state of California. So even in the past 24 hours, there are courts that are attempting to usurp my religious liberty. Prayer changes everything. By gathering, by recognizing that churches are essential, we push back against much of the angst, the consternation. You know what's pretty interesting to me? That these orders not recognizing churches as essential, primarily, arguably, may impact the very communities that need prayer and gathering the most. When people of color, for example, I'm a Latino, and in the churches that we pastor, when they are fighting anxiety, depression, angst, consternation, who do they call? They don't call a psychiatrist or a psychologist. They call their pastors. Prayer changes absolutely everything.
Pastor White-Cain, what about people who are concerned about the gathering component and who are worried, you know, will churches be able to implement some of these CDC guidelines for gatherings that have been suggested, and are scared that maybe, you know, if people start going to church, they could potentially spread this virus? What do you say to that as someone who is a pastor of a church?
Well, first, I just amplify what Pastor Sammy and Pastor Franklin have both said about our president being a defender of religious rights and all. Let me tell you something about pastors and the heart of them. They love people, and pastors are going to make sure that their people are safe. They're going to take every precaution. We understand the church must be an essential. At the heart of these battles, it really is a constitutional battle where some states have become discriminatory against a church, like Minnesota, when you can say, hey, thousands of people in Lowe's or Home Depot, or, you know, you've got people in bars and 100 people in bars and only 10 people in church. Pastors are going to be safe. We know where the hot spots are. Like, I'm in a small community. There's not been one outbreak in our community. We've been so blessed and so fortunate, and we will still make sure that we take all of our precautions. We have sanitized, we have gloves, we have masks, we have distancing. We all want to make sure that people are safe, but we do not want to be discriminated against, and we are so grateful for President Trump and the DOJ taking the stand that they've taken.
Well, I want to thank all three of you for being here today, and not just for being here, but for inspiring your communities and for offering such leadership to people at this important time. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. A former Democrat joining the call to reopen